Welcome back to the Pack Edge, where we're discussing the latest trends in packaging and processing. Today we're talking about workforce development, specifically what manufacturers can do to retain current employees and recruit new workers in a tight labor market. I'm here today with Brian Griffin and Stefan Gerard of PMMI, the Association for Packaging and Processing Technologies. Thank you both for being here today. And Brian, I'd like to start with you. We've seen employment numbers rebound since the start of the pandemic, but staffing remains a huge issue for manufacturers. Where should they start?
Well, that's a really good question, Liz. I think one of the things that we need to realize is that we're all trying to pool from the same group of people to recruit. So there's not a lot of advantage in where we're looking to recruit people. The real advantage comes in how we recruit and onboard those people. Are we able to get them up to speed properly, efficiently, and effectively so that they want to stay with us, so that we can retain those employees? So there was a poll done by Gallup a few years ago that showed that 88% of employees felt that they were poorly onboarded, that they didn't have a full detailed checklist of all the different things they needed to know in order to do the job. Because onboarding is so much more than just, hey, here's your desk, here's the bathroom, get to work. There's an entire plethora of things that need to be done in order to feel like you're a part of the organization. And that should all be part of the onboarding. And a follow-up poll from Glassdoor showed that 82% improvement in retention for those who were onboarded properly versus those who were just, again, shown their desk in the bathroom and said to get to work. And with that was also seen a 70% increase in productivity from those people who were onboarded properly. So being able to find people is important, but being able to onboard them is even more important.
Absolutely. Really interesting points. Stefan, what else can companies be doing on these fronts?
I think the biggest things companies need to do is really focus on their managers. Managers are really the key to retention. They should be participating in the onboarding and definitely have a strong role to play in terms of retention. The real premise here is that employees need to feel valued, and that's essentially where it begins and ends. It's important for the employees to feel like they understand what's going on, so that way they can be engaged. So that means good communication from a corporate level as well as from those managers. And it also means, it could be things like employee recognition. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but it's something where they're recognized in front of their peers. And then I would say the most important thing is for those individuals to have a career pathway. And that's something that the managers need to work with them on. And it can't just be, at their review when they say, okay, well, here's, what your pathway might look like. You need to actually have goals set and that lead to, ultimately that next step within the organization. And that usually involves training and additional, whether it's formal training or training within the organization. Those are usually the things that are part of that. So,
are there resources that manufacturing employers can turn to?
Absolutely. So the Society for Human Resources Management is a great place to start. They have a number of different resources in terms of onboarding information as well as retention and involves best practices. So that would be a great first step. In terms of that career path and taking them to the next level, I think training is really important, as I mentioned. And PMI, for instance, has different training programs, and some of them are available during Pack Expo for those who are going to be attending. So, those are just a couple things that employers can look to for information. So, is there anything you would like to add, Brian?
Yeah, I think we need to realize that the labor gap that we're feeling is not just the front end, but it's also the back end. So we need to take care of employees who are retiring and have a transition plan for whoever's going to replace that retiree. It can't be a matter of, nice to see you, glad you were here, enjoy your retirement, now who can take over? We need to plan that much more in advance, up to a year in advance, where we're looking at identifying who the next person in line is going to be to replace that retiree. We've got a dedicated, detailed checklist of items that they need to learn and understand, just like with the onboarding. And then we're allowing them to shadow that retiree before they leave, so that by the time the retiree exits the workforce, the person who's replacing them is already up to speed and can just make a smooth transition to take over. So if we're understanding both the onboarding side and the retirement side, we're going to have a much more stable, active workforce than if we try and do everything spur of the moment.
Thank you, Brian and Stefan, for your time today addressing this critical issue. If you'd like to learn more, please visit pmmi.org and read our Business Intelligence Report, Shaping the Future of Packaging Operations. And don't forget to register for Pack Expo International this October 23rd through 26th in Chicago, where you can take advantage of workforce development resources for new and existing employees. Visit packexpointernational.com to get registered. Thanks, and we'll see you next time on Pack Edge.